Do you know who you are? You're a child of the Most High through Christ because you believe. You believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. You believe that he gave his life for the remission of sins and was raised from the dead, and you may have life. That's who you are. You're a child of the living God who died with Christ, and now you're alive with Christ. As the body of Christ was put to death by men, he carried all of your sinful deeds with him. He became a sacrifice to satisfy the word, and he was raised from the dead. And if you accept that sacrifice upon your life, which means you believe in what he taught, and you receive that sacrifice upon your life, and you have a strong desire, hear me on this, most important part, to turn away from those things you used to do, then you're forgiven. You're completely forgiven. If you believe that right now, in your heart of hearts, in your soul, and you agree with this gospel, and you believe in the act that he did, and you believe he was raised from the dead, then right now is a new day for you. If in your heart you truly want to turn away from iniquity, then you're clean, you're washed. Remember when Jesus was washing the feet of the disciples, and Peter said, "Don't wash my feet." He said, "If I don't wash your feet, you can have no portion with me." And Peter said, "Well, just wash my whole body." Hear me on this. Jesus washed their feet. That's a symbol. Your feet in the Middle East are the dirtiest part of your body. It is against the law to show someone the sole of your foot. Do you know that? Because that's one of the greatest insults that you can hurl at someone. Do you know that? Jesus took the nastiest part of the human body that accumulates filth, and he washed it. He exposed himself to the filth of those people. That's what he did. He exposed himself to the filth of people. He washed their feet. He washed the filthy parts of a person, and he did so out of love. Understand that. That's what he did. He washed their feet. See, sometimes people, they don't know that. They think that, everybody has a standard and their feet are clean. In the Middle East, feet are the nastiest part of the body. Feet, that's worse than your left hand. In the Middle East, your left hand is a forbidden hand. Did you know that? When Jesus washed their feet, he did so with love. Listen, he focused on, handled the filthiest parts of the disciples. He did the same thing to us. And he told Peter, he said, "If I don't wash you, you can have no portion with me." Sometimes, when you're thinking about your life, and you're reminded of those things that you used to do and used to think about, do you know sometimes that's a moment of remembrance for you to also acknowledge and allow the Lord to wash you of those things. Don't resist him in them. That means when you remember, don't seek to hide them from the Lord. Understand that those parts of you he has cleansed. Isn't that awesome? Now he gave us another charge told us to wash each other as he has washed us. How many times have you guys heard that from anybody? Anybody ever hear that before? You'd be surprised. Some Christians have never heard that before. They have never heard that before in their lives. They never heard the Lord say, wash each other, do to each other as I've done to you here today. So if Jesus washed, handled the filthiest parts of us out of love to clean us, that is the heart you have towards your brother. But are we doing that? That may take a moment to take that one in. Sometimes, in these standards, in modern day civilization, we think ourselves to be so clean that thought is unthinkable. That's part of who a Christian is. A Christian is someone who would also wash, seek to clean the filthiest parts of each other. Remember, washing feet is a symbol, and it represents something. A willingness of the heart and soul. Now, if you've never heard that before, and if you've never thought that way before, now it's time for adoption of those ways in your heart. Don't block your heart from those things. Let me continue here. So we're going to read in Lazarus. That was the washing of the feet. It's a beautiful chapter, by the way. Washing of the feet. It is amazing, though, that many people have never heard that before. Never really heard that one before. Okay, Lazarus. We are in chapter 11. Now, a third man was sick, named Lazarus, of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. And it was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sister sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Now let me stop. Have you guys ever heard that term, a sin unto death? Have you guys ever heard that term, a sin unto death? This is not the only time that's mentioned. Jesus said this was not a sin unto death. I like that. He said it was not a sin unto death. That's what he said. He said it's not a sickness unto death. I'm sorry, not sin, a sickness unto death. Write that down. He said it's not a sickness unto death. I probably just gave it away. It's not a sickness unto death. So in John 11:4, he's telling them, well, this is not a sickness unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. So he's telling them, the sickness Lazarus has is not a sickness to kill him, but to glorify God. Now remember, he said this. This is John 11. Jesus told them straight to their faces, as he always does, why things happen. Jesus did this so many times, it's incredible. So he tells them, this sickness is not unto death. That's what he said out of his mouth. This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby, or that the Son of God might be glorified because of it. Okay? John 11:5. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. So they rush to him, they come to him, they give him the message, your friend is sick. Jesus says, well, it's not unto death. And he tells them why he's sick. This is for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. And then he does what? He does what? He stayed there in that same place for a couple days. 2 days he stayed there. John 11:7. Then after that he said to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thou thither again? So after 2 days he goes, let's go to Judea. And of course they know the reports that were coming back from Judea. And he said, they want to kill us. And we're going to go back to the place where they want to kill us. And after that, he said to his disciples, let's go to Judea again. John 11:7. After he tarries 2 days, imagine somebody trying to kill you in a city, right? And you're with a pastor or somebody. You guys are on a mission. All of a sudden, after 2 days, spontaneously, somebody pops up and says, let's go back to the place where they were trying to kill us. You would say, well, that's just, something's gone here. All right? Hardly any of us would do it. We wouldn't do it, not in this day and age. We would not. You'd have to really trust someone to go back to a place you barely escaped from. Because he said they were trying to stone him, which means they likely barely escaped. Now they're going back. Right? They're going back. So you can imagine if he's saying, his disciples are saying, let's not go back again. If they're questioning this, and they too know about Lazarus, then of course their own health and safety supersedes the sickness of Lazarus. By the way, Jesus said what? Jesus said, this is not a sickness unto death. So then he minimized, in the disciples' eyes, he minimized that situation. All right? Somebody asked me one time, they said, well, if Lazarus was dead, why did the disciples not want to go back? If he was, if he was dead, if his sickness was going to kill him, why would they not go back? They must have been evil. No, Jesus minimized it. Jesus said, this sickness is not unto death. So if the Messiah says, this sickness is not unto death, all of a sudden, all of your nervousness, all of your trepidation, all of your troubled mind is going to be eased. Why? Because the Messiah just said, Jesus just said, don't worry about it, this sickness is not unto death. So everybody relaxes again, right? Now you all see that. That's important that you see that. Everybody relaxes again because Jesus is saying the sickness is not unto death. And they trust the Lord. They trust his word. Of everybody's word, they trust his word. They have seen his deeds. So we were around Christ and we had somebody who was really, really, really sick and people thought they were going to die. But then Jesus told that person in front of us, this sickness is not unto death. All of us would relax. Wouldn't we? We'd relax. We wouldn't be in a rush to go anywhere.